Hello everybody, welcome back to the workshop. So today we are going to work on a fairly simple project. We are going to be working on a calla lily. A calla lily is a pretty basic thing, so the way that I'm going to show you how to make it, it's made from a blank or a template out of sheet steel, and then we're going to take and forge the stem. It's going to be a fairly simple design, real simple. The basic shape or iteration of a calla lily is something that looks like this. I don't know if you guys can see that on screen or not, but it's just a basic cone shape, and we're going to add a stamens to it in the center, and voila, you're going to have a calla lily. But I'll show you how I make my calla lilies, and hopefully you guys will enjoy this. There's other ways of making calla lilies. We'll do, like, in later dates, we'll do a fully forged calla lily that actually uses forge welding to forge everything together. But for this particular one, I'm just going to use some welding and yeah, just a little bit of grinding techniques. So thank you all for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Okie doke. So here's the basic template pattern that we are going to be using. Now, I buy these are a pre-laser cut. They're a pretty simple pattern. A lot of different makers and stuff have these as an option. I'll try to put some links in the description of where you guys can go find these, or the guys that I get these through here. I'll put those links down in the description. Now, this here is going to be a pretty basic format. All we're going to do is we're going to give this outside layer here some texture, and then we're going to roll it up much like you would do a socket for a chisel or something like that. And so it goes pretty quick after you get the texture done, and then once you roll it like a socket, a chisel, the next part will be actually making the stem. The stem's a pretty easy process as well, and you got a couple options there. My current option that I do the most, more than anything, is just a simple stem made out of 1/4 inch rod that's been out slightly and has been upset on the end, okay, to just add some texture to it. Now, if you look at calla lilies in the wild, if you will, or someone's garden, flower bed, you'll see that the calla lily has a stem, okay, and then you've got this shape here to the calla lily. There's usually a wrap like so, right? And then there's a stamens that look just straight up like that. You can most certainly do that if you want to, and make this just go all the way clean up through and just be a textured end of a rod that's been domed over slightly. And we may just do that this way today, just to take and give it a little bit of different variety. If you guys want to see what these look like with my regular way of doing it, you can go check out my website over at ChristCenteredIronworks.com. You can go check that out. I have some examples of it there. So without further ado, let's get over to the forge and get this blank heated. Okay, with this first heat there, ladies and gents, we got it nice and warm. We're just going to lay it flat on the anvil, and we're just going to hammer the edge. So you want to just come down with flat hammer blows, flat face hammer blows, and just give this edge some texture. Mainly, there's no point in doing it all the way to the center, because all the way to the center is not going to be shown. Plus, it's good to have some dimension. And you don't have to go too far down the edges as well. Once again, it won't be shown. So it's really just that top third there is all you need to focus on. And so once you got it like that, we're going to go ahead and roll that up, or start to roll that up into a cone. Okay, we flipped it around. We have the other end heated up. And basically all you need is a place between 2 points. And you want to hammer about directly in the center. If you have a step in your anvil, this is perfect for this. But we just want to really get this bottom part here starting to curl around. And we're going to shape that and start to look and choose which side of it we want to tuck in and which side we want to be on the outside. This one I'm going to make the left wrap over the right. And so we're just going to keep working that right over. and work that just like so. Voila. So now you guys can see that there. That's the shape we're looking for. Now, if it looks like I made that real easy, it is actually very easy. The thing you have to remember to tell yourself is do not hit back in here. You want that to kind of curl and pucker weird naturally. If you try to fight what this is doing up here too much, you'll lose focus on closing this up and then you'll have problems. Now, this hole here is just a little bit on the small side. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to just have to knock a little bit of a punch through there and wobble that open a bit. And when we do that, then we'll be able to flip it around and grab it with a pair of these scrolling tongs that I've made in another video. We'll be able to actually fit the scrolling tongs in there and grab it then to be able to work out this portion of the bloom and shape the calic or the little part at the top of the calla lily. And here we are. So now we're going to go to the radius of the horn, and we're just going to use that to essentially back up the backside edge as we hammer lightly with the peen or the cross peen of the hammer. Now, why are we hammering lightly with the cross peen of the hammer? The reason why, one, is it will give us more reach into this, but not only will it give us more reach, which I've got to heat this back up if you'll excuse me, not only will it give us more reach, but it keeps the same texture. So if you accidentally hit against the anvil with a broader face versus the same face you peened with, you can flatten out your texture and then make it look blah. So we don't want to do that. So let me get this good and hot. I'm sorry, I'm going to film this one straight through just a little bit. Ran out of heat. Okay. And yeah, so just rolling out this little edge all the way down into the crook here where it just heads in. And that's all we're doing. Just folding that out a little bit so this way we've got some flair, some style. Okay, now the last bit of it is to decide what you're going to do with this little tip. You can bend it just straight back at this point, or you can wisp it back forward just a little bit to give it just a little bit of a whimsy. And I like just a little bit of whimsy. So there you are. There you have it. You have to get in here and clean it up, of course. And you'll probably want to take this to a wire wheel and get it really good and cleaned up. You can leave it just a forged finish. It's okay. All depends on the aesthetic you're going for. But now the bloom portion of this is done. So now let's go ahead and switch over, and I'll cut a length of stock and we will do the center portion. So I've got a piece of 3/8 inch round or 9.5 mil by 7 inches long or 175 mil, and I'm going to draw it down to 1/4 inch square or 6 mil square, if you will, and do this all on the horn because I want to have a little bit of a transition here. And the 1/4 inch section is going to become the stem. Here's where the importance of progressive forging comes in place. Want that transition to be nice and smooth if we can. And so on. So there we have it. So now we got it square. Once again, we'll have to take that down a little bit better. But now I'm going to flip it around and I'm going to forge out what's here in the tongs. and I'll be right back with you. Bring this little bit out, and we're just going to continue to work this. Now, you can go as far as you like with this. I prefer to keep my stems to within 10 to 12 inches in length, or 250 mil to 300 mil in length. That's something to think about. You don't have to worry about getting this perfectly smooth, but it helps if you can. As you can see, it doesn't take that long to draw this out over the horn. It's fairly small stop. If you need to take a break, you get winded, and this is getting really cold. Technically, I shouldn't be forging it at this point. We're doing some cleanup. If you get winded, you need to take a break, put it back in the forge. Let it stay nice and crispy while you work. So there you go. Hopefully you all can see that. So this part that's being held in the jaws of the tongs is going to become the stamens portion. The rest is going to be the stem. And I think I'm going to make a part 2 of this video series where I actually put it on a base. And we're going to turn this into a little bit of a decorative sculpture. So, there you have it. I'll go ahead and heat this up again. And now we're going to go ahead and start rounding this off as a stem. And that's going to cause it to grow a little extra in length. Now you may be asking yourself, Roy, how did you know to start with 7 inches? I did not know whether I was going to start with 7 inches or what. So that appears like that works out about right. It's approximately, by the time I'm done drawing out, it'll be about 10 inches or 250 mil in length. And that's what I ideally want. Now I just started with 7 inches because that's what scrap I had laying around. Apparently it worked out okay, so you can do it just like this. If you don't have tongs to hold things, you can just forge all this on a long bar, and that may be easier for you. Okay, so now in a randomized kind of way, I'm going to work this thing round on the horn. Now this is not going to leave you with a perfectly round stem, and that's exactly what you want. You don't want this to be left with a perfectly round stem. You want it to look like a stem. So don't be afraid to leave this rough. In fact, it looks weird if it's perfectly smooth. Now, you can make it perfectly smooth if you're trying to go for a little, I don't know how you would say it, more of a modern interpretation. If you're going for something a little more out there, if you're trying to make it look closer to like a calla lily stem, you'll want to have some forging texture left in it. So that's just my suggestion. So there we are. Got that all nice and smoothed up. And now we'll flip it back around, and I'll go ahead and clean all this joint up here, and we'll do the texture of our little stamens. Let's go ahead and clean this up here. There we go. Nice and smooth that up, nice and round. Okay, and now I'm going to work at rounding off the tip of this stamens a little bit while it's being supported by the anvil. And I may come to this side of the anvil, so this way it keeps the horn. And all I'm trying to do here is just round this off at the end. And then I'm just going to give this a little bit of texture. That way it has something to stand out with. So there you have it. Now this end here has got a bit of fish mouth. We'll just clean that off. In the next heat, I'll just heat it up and then just come in here and work out that little bit of fish mouthing on the end, and then we'll be ready to assemble. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. I got that all rounded up there, and now you can see I took and actually opened up this bottom of this calla lily just a little bit extra. So this way I could actually fit that through there. When I closed it up that tight, you know, that's usually was for my 1/4-inch stems, and since this is, I chose to do this a little bit differently with the, you know, the thicker top, I had to open it up so I could get it around there. Now, next trick is, I'm going to go ahead and close that back up, and I'm not going to weld on camera because I do not have some way of protecting my camera sensor. So I'm just going to go ahead and weld this up, but I'm going to walk you through what we're going to do here. So the ideal of this is you want this balloon not to sit all flush to one side. You want it to sit a little bit off to about center line. Picture a center line through the entire calla lily like that. That's how you want that to take and weld up. Okay, so if you weld it like this, and that's all the way clear at the back, it's not going to look good. You want that to already naturally stick out and have clear space in between all parts, all even like. Okay, and then you just pick any one part here, and then you just tack weld it up, and then just weld a little bit up into the seam here, a little higher up on the seam. Okay, so you got to roll this thing closed and tighten it up really nice and tight, so this way it holds on to the piece itself. And I'll just do that cold with a hammer at the anvil, just keep tapping it around until it holds tightly, and then I will finish welding off that seam, and I'll blend it off with a angle grinder. So that'll be it on that. I'll put a picture of this at the end of this video of what that stage there looks like, and then in the next video we will actually finish off the stem by attaching it and making a decorative base and whatnot. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up, and make sure you check back in a few days or so, and I should have the completion of this build done with a nice decorative base, a little tenon, and you know, we'll get that portion of it done so you guys can see how this little sculpture turned out. Thank you all for watching this video. Like I always say, God bless you, and we'll catch you on the next one.